There was a 6-year-old sitting on a bench at the edge of a gymnasium. She had made herself small, and her head was down, and her dad stood beside her, encouraging her, and tells me she loves dancing. She dances at home all the time. She loved dancing, yet she could not move. Both things were true at the same time. Did you have any moments like that when you were a child? I had plenty. That's why I recognized that feeling from the inside. I was the kid who got called difficult, who got called bad, and also the kid who had very little confidence in doing anything on his own. I made myself just as small for years. And see, what her dad had was accurate. He was loving. 6 years of watching her in his own house. And in that gymnasium, a few feet away from her, it did not reach her at that time. I will tell you what happened to that kid, just not yet. Because there's a similar version of that happening to your child in your house right now. And it has almost nothing to do with how much you love your child. Here's the arrangement that you were handed, and nobody ever named it for you. A parent's job is to take what they know and put it into their child. Educate them, discipline them, show them. That worked for a long time because a child was going to grow up and face the world their parents faced. That arrangement quietly stopped working, and nobody sent a notice. The world you were built in does not exist anymore. I don't mean this poetically, I mean this literally. And yet you are still being graded on how well you transmit it. The pressure that you feel is real, and is pointed at a job that changed shape underneath you. This happened to your parents too. See, I came across this reel not too long ago.
And parents teach children how to survive based on everything they learned about the world in which they grew up in.
In this, she speaks about how our parents live in a completely different universe than us. And this is true. And especially if you think about what's happening right now. A society runs on handing knowledge down. And that works until the world changes faster than a generation grows. The version you will hear everywhere blames the screens. Your kid stops instead of moving, and you are told it is because everything answers them instantly. There is something to that, it just stops one layer too early. You were raised to move first and sort it out on the way. A kid now is raised to get it right before starting. So they stop, and you read it as not listening, while they read you as rushing them. I taught kids for years, and some of them just shut down. What I could never do was tell from the outside which one I was looking at. I can tell you which one I was. They wanted obedience, delivered with force because force was the method that they knew. And this came from their generation. I heard Tagalog every day in my childhood. I can barely speak it. My body was braced the whole time. Nothing got in. This is my read, not a diagnosis for every child. The label was that I would not listen. Wrong about the mechanism, right about the result. It's not that I would not listen. I couldn't listen. One line about my mother, because she was getting a fuller hearing elsewhere. She was handing me what had been handed to her, in a world that no longer existed by the time it reached me. Some of you are thinking it. Your parents were harder, and you turned out just fine. Maybe, but I would ask something different. Whether what it took is something you are still doing now, in a house where nobody is asking you to. A picture of the world that stopped being accurate does not feel out of date from the inside. It feels like certainty. A reaction gets built before you actually feel it. What your body predicts is about to happen, what state your body is already in, and what you call a feeling once it shows up. At 6 o'clock, when you get triggered, when you get angry, you're not reading the room in front of you. You're reading one you left decades ago. If looking back feels self-indulgent when you have people to feed tonight, the reason is not to process your past. It is that the thing firing at 6 o'clock was built back there. Put that together and look at where you are standing. You are the one who received it. Your mother's world, her fears, what she thought would happen if you did not turn out a certain way. Built into you before you had any say, and much of it already out of date the day that it arrived. And you are the one handing it forward to a child standing in a world you cannot fully see, and one that they cannot fully understand. You are in the middle of the chain, both ends at once. Same body, same dinner table. That is the actual weight you are carrying, and I do not think anybody has named it for you yet. And I still not have told you what happened to that kid on the bench. And see, that kid was in a class full of other kids who were much older than her. To her, they were much older than her. To us, it was only 3 years. She was 6, they were 9. And when her dad tried to push her, she would not go, and nothing he tried reached her. Everything he knew about her said she should love this. After all, it was a dance class, and she danced at home, all the time. And see, I did not know her. The only move that I had was to ask. So as she sat on the bench, I sat on the floor. That was the only way I could match our eye level. And I asked her one question: "What's your favorite song?" She answered. I don't remember what it was. And after a little while, I asked her about other songs that were playing when the kids were practicing their dance routines. And she opened up. And by the end of the 8-week program, she was on stage dancing with the other kids. And her dad came up to me and thanked me and said she's never done this before. Her father could not ask that question because he already had the answer. 6 years of watching her, accurate, built somewhere. I had nothing, and that is the only reason asking was available to me. One more thing sits in that story: a kid who loved dancing and could not move in that room, and a kid who heard his own mother's language every day and could not take a word of it in. Both of us got read as would not. Both of us were could not. If what is firing at 6 o'clock is the thing that you want to get in front of, I built a free thing for exactly that. The link is below and there is more at the end. Here is the work: 2 pieces of paper and a pen. First, list 3 questions about you. What were you afraid of at the age your child is right now? What did you get praised for? And lastly, what did you learn to hide? Second list: mark the ones that you are still running, not the ones that you remember, the ones operating in your house this week. Then pick one you would hand your child on purpose. Just one. If you think you do not have time, 11 minutes, the pen from the junk drawer. It does not have to be a good pen. Tonight, do the thing that I did on the dance floor without even thinking. Ask your child one question about their world you cannot answer for them. If you already know the answer, it is the wrong question. Nobody ever said this to me, not once, in that whole house. If somebody had, it would have sounded something like this: "You don't understand the world I was raised from and never will. However, I will raise you from that world so you can see your own world, and we will do that together. That is yours. Now, say it to your kid." The free thing I mentioned is the Reactive Parent Reboot. The link is in my bio and down below in the caption. And it's for the thing that fires before you get a say in it. You are not behind. You were handed a map to a place that is closed. Everybody was. You are the first one in line who gets to check whether it still matches the ground.